And good evening. Thank you for joining me as together our faith community moves forward through 2021 with a parish vision. I understand you can hear me. If you cannot see me, please let me know either through chat or Q&A, and we'll try and address that. What I want to present has been discerned after almost a year of prayer and in consultation with numerous members of the parish. And as we present, what we would like to do is we'd like to give you an opportunity to be able to join us. And so if you would like to either look at the chat room or the Q&A icon, which is at the bottom of your Zoom link, you can talk with Jason and Tom Phillips, who will be kind of monitoring that this whole evening. If there's something I need to clarify, if there's a question you have, we found this afternoon that we had about 30 minutes to be able to answer some questions. Some of them we did live, some of them we did via the Zoom chat or Q&A function, but you're more than welcome to join in. So with that, let's begin. If you're going to talk about a parish vision, you actually have to start with a church vision. And Archbishop Nelson Perez has been here, believe it or not, almost a year. And he's been going all around the archdiocese. He's been visiting grade schools, high schools, nursing homes, parishes, etc. And he's probably getting an idea on the state of the archdiocese. And I would imagine that Archbishop Perez at some point is going to put out his own idea of a larger vision for the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean that we have to wait for that. St. Monica has been around since the 1800s, and we have a pretty good idea about the traditions of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. And so I think that gives us an opportunity to try and put something together that very much is in correspondence and is loyal to that Philadelphia Catholic tradition. Once you have the parish tradition, then you basically start putting together what the mission is or the vision is for individual, either people or departments or individual ministries. And under that are what we would call key responsibility areas. What are the big bucket areas for which you are responsible? And then under that, what are the particular goals and tasks that you hope to accomplish over a certain amount of time to try and fulfill those SMART goals, SMART meaning specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So this is kind of gives you a little bit of a 30,000-foot vision on where we are getting our vision from. This is going to be the first of 3 presentations to try and give you a full picture of the state of affairs at St. Monica and where we're hoping to go in the future. This is basically going to cover the pastoral and spiritual direction. Within the next few months, we're going to talk a little bit about the parish finances. Currently, the Finance Committee is working on the budget for the fiscal year 2021-2022. We kind of want to show you where we were maybe 2 years ago, pre-COVID, where we were with COVID. Actually, it wasn't so bad. And where we are right now and how we look maybe 1 year out. And then later in the year, maybe as we get towards the beginning of the school year, we want to look at the resources that we have, the physical resources that can help us with the mission. 5 years ago, as a matter of fact, almost to the month, we put together a kind of a large master plan to address some of the needs that we needed in the parish. And we want to kind of look at, revisit that, see where we are and see what the state of the resources are and how they can help underlie and help support us in that mission. And what exactly is that mission? The mission starts with Matthew 28:19-20, where Jesus says, "Go and make disciples, baptize them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teach them everything that I taught you, and know that I am with you until the end of the earth." So any vision has to start with this idea of that call from God and then going out and making disciples. And from that, what we did over the course of almost a year I spoke with people, the parishioners. I spoke with my leadership team. We spoke with the staff. We spoke with people in the various ministries. And what we did was we thought that the thing that St. Monica seemed to be doing, or what God was calling us to do, was to give people an opportunity to encounter Jesus Christ in a very substantive, and maybe you could even say a very mystical way. And we used to talk about three things, and we've added a fourth. So we're looking about encountering Christ through word, liturgy, charity, and a fourth one, community. And that basically came out of looking at the fruit that has been born out of walking with purpose. That man is you. And Jason Carter and Megan Nolte's tremendous success that they've had with the religious education program based on small groups. And so let's look at each one of those individually. We are a Eucharistic community, and therefore let's start with liturgy, which is led by Deb Rojas, who we hired about a year ago. And in asking Deb, what do you see liturgy doing and wanting to do over the next 9 months, let's say, through Advent and through Christmas, she said, I want to focus on high season liturgies, which would be Advent, Christmas, and Lent, Easter, non-music ministry, Eucharistic ministers, altar servers, etc. Deb said, I really want to put together a vision for liturgy, and I want to put together a liturgy team to help me form that vision that ties into the greater parish vision. And then something that is very near and dear to Deb's heart, and that's all the idea of beauty. This was a key point at Pope Benedict and Bishop Barron as well, that people are going to come back because they are attracted to the beauty within the church. So the beauty of the liturgy and the beauty of music. So those are the four things that she wants to focus on. So first one, high season liturgy. What she wants to do is she wants to integrate and orchestrate all the aspects: music, liturgy, motion, ministry, smells, bells, et cetera, et cetera. Why? Those are the two times during the year when the most people come to Mass, as we all know. And so these are times where we could have a strategic encounter or enable people to have that strategic encounter with Christ when they come at Christmas and when they come at Easter. We started talking about this, believe it or not, back last year in February, when we had a sense that COVID was going to last probably until the beginning of the school year. So Deb and I literally got in front of a huge whiteboard, and over the course of 2 days, we kind of mapped out what we were going to do for Easter and then later what we were going to do for Christmas. And what we started to do right away was we started recording the liturgies. As we got closer to Christmas, we realized that that probably wasn't enough and we were going to have to go live. And so what we did was we chose, installed, initiated, and evaluated live streaming liturgies during the Christmas season. And we completed that. And for the most part, that seems to be working pretty well. What Deb also wants to do is she looks at this current situation. We do not know when we're going to fully open up. And therefore, the idea of a large choir with lots of instruments is really somewhat unrealistic. And we have a very rich library of music for choir, for instruments, et cetera. And so what Deb wants to do is go through that and pull things off the shelf and say, what can we do with what we have now? A small scola of 2 or 3 or 4 people. What can we do if we can't have brass instruments, but we can have maybe woodwinds or violins like we're doing now? So she wants to organize that parish music library. So we will be able to have music that is, again, beautiful, accessible, and something that people really, really touches their hearts when they come and visit us, especially Christmas and Easter. Second thing, non-music ministries. This is, you're talking about a whole comprehensive liturgical musical ministry program. These are your Eucharistic ministers, ushers, welcoming, altar servers, sacristy, et cetera, et cetera. If you notice, if people in those ministries do not do a good job, it becomes extremely distracting. And one of the great things about St. Monica is the people who exercise those ministries do that with incredible decorum, professionalism, and a sense of grace and holiness. That enhances the beauty of the liturgy. So one of the things that we wanted to do was make that process a little easier. So we put on a new scheduling software. We completed that a couple of months ago. Deb said that she wanted to have 3 new lectors and 3 new Eucharistic ministers by Christmas. We did that. And she would really like to have one person manage that ministry scheduler. Deb does it, Tom helps with it a little bit, but those are administrative functions, and those are really not her, what she should be doing. That's not her exercising her musical and liturgy charism. So what Deb would like to do is find somebody to handle that administrative task, take that off the desk, and let her focus more and more on music and liturgy. Third thing, putting together a liturgy team and come up with a liturgy vision. Why should we do liturgy at St. Monica, and what is it about St. Monica liturgy and music that is of a particular unique charism? And she wants to put that down in writing and have some kind of a statement that all parishioners would be familiar with. So she's doing it both for the parish as well as me, to support me in what I'm trying to do and evangelize the parish and elsewhere. It helps support and direct the parish vision. And Deb would like to try and get both of those things done by the end of the Easter season. And 4, the beauty of the liturgy, the beauty of music. And Deb realized that when you start talking about these various aspects, sometimes people don't know them or understand them. And so what she did was over the last couple of months, what she has done is put together a liturgy catechesis. She brought in Father David Friel, who, by the way, was a student of mine when I taught at Archbishop Wood, and also Dr. Carmina Chapp, who was a professor at the St. Charles Seminary. And that was to try and explain and evaluate what exactly liturgy is. And we completed both of those. And one of the things that Deb would also like to do, and that's going to depend on some of the guidelines that we get from the state, he would like to have some kind of a concert, a non-liturgical concert. But that's going to depend on social distancing. And if that's possible, she would like to have that maybe by the end of the middle or end of the summer. But that, again, is going to depend on what we hear out of Harrisburg. So those are the 4 things that Deb Rojas is doing in terms of her aspect of the liturgy and her aspect of the vision. Megan Nolte and Jason Carter have been tasked to help me in terms of having people encounter Christ through word and through community. One of the things that Jason has spoken to me about numerous times, oh, come on, be nice. All right, is the idea that we want to be a community that is based on the scriptures. This is important, and we saw this as the importance of this in a questionnaire that we did twice a couple of years ago in cooperation with Catholic Leadership Institute. The questionnaire was called a Disciple Maker Index, which basically measures the spiritual, pastoral health of the parish. And one of the questions that was very important was this question: the parish helps me connect with the local Catholic community by making me feel welcomed and accepted. People want to connect. People want community. And if you look there, the scores from 2017 and 2019, we are our score is in the middle. And if you look over here on the right, we were compared to 4 other rubrics. One was other large parishes in Philadelphia, suburban parishes in Philadelphia, the average of all of the parishes in the diocese, and the average of all of the parishes in the whole United States. Another interesting question was this one: how do people grow, or can people grow via small groups? And this was the idea and the kind of the inkling that Jason had, and said, if we can get people into smaller groups, if we can be a community of communities, people are going to grow in their faith with Jesus Christ. And he was right. Now, the parish helps me grow spiritually by connecting me with small faith sharing groups. We see this with Walking with Purpose, That Man Is You. And where in 2017, we were well below other parishes and other diocesan averages. And then all of a sudden, 2019, we were above all of them in terms of that score. So there seems to be something of some substance here where we're seeing fruit when we put people together in small groups. There was one area, one small group aspect where we saw a real dramatic effect, and that was taking a religious education, changing it from a traditional classroom model and putting it into a small group model. I would recommend my parish religious education to a friend. That was the question. In 2017, we were the below average of most other rubrics, and in 2019, we had one of the highest scores in the country. Kudos to Megan Nolte and Jason Carter. We're proud of both of them. Something happened when we gathered our young people around a flat screen TV, gave them good, solid catechetical materials, and rather than teaching at them, we had people in the classrooms acting as disciples and sharing their faith with these young people, and it had a real dramatic effect. What else does Jason and Megan want to do? They want to spiritually grow our young people and our adults. Catechesis through community, like I already said, for our young people, and build on the strengths of this small group model. Here's the catch. You cannot give what you do not have. So Jason and Megan want to start really focusing on the adults. How do we feed them? How do we form them? How do we lead these people who are leading our children in their faith? What kind of administrative support can we offer Megan and Jason? So much like I talked about in terms of Deb, they're not doing a lot of business stuff that's on the desk, but rather we can give that to somebody who has a charism of administration, and let Jason and Megan do what they do best, which is teach and do and evangelize. And then much like the Disciple Maker Index, have some kind of a tool, some kind of an instrument whereby we know that we're actually achieving what we want to do, and that we can point to the fruit that is happening through this spiritual growth for young and adults. Fourth and fifth thing that they want to do is they want to do discipleship, and they want to do something parish-wide. Discipleship, one of the interesting criticisms, and it was a valid criticism, was that leaders and people who are in the various ministries around St. Monica said that they sometimes don't know the people in the parish staff well, or they don't know who to go to when they need a question answered or when they need resources. So Jason and Megan, along with Tom Phillips, are going to be touching base over the next couple of weeks with all of the ministry leaders. We will hope to to improve the communication between the parish staff and those ministries. We want to find out who are the people who have particular charisms that can help us in those ministries. And one thing that is really near and dear to Jason and Megan's heart is they're looking at families, especially in COVID, and how much families have really been challenged. Not just in terms of religion and faith, but in terms of work and raising their families, et cetera, et cetera. And Megan and Jason want to try and put out some initiatives over the course of the next 9 months where we can accompany these families and feed them both on a human level as well as a spiritual level, and really allow through that, have them have that encounter with Christ. In terms of parish-wide, if you see that photo there at the right hand, that's where when Pope Francis came for the World Meeting of Families a couple of years ago, where we all gathered around a large screen and saw the Holy Father celebrate Mass. We would like to do something like that. We're not quite sure what it is. It's going to be some kind of a parish mission. We're going to do that in the fall of 2021. We've heard a lot of people want to come back. They want to connect. They want to do something together as a parish and as a group, again, somewhat COVID related. And in that regards, Tom is working together with Jason and Megan, who are in charge of evangelization and discipleship, as well as Deb, who is in charge of music and liturgy. And they're forming a little bit of a task force team to see what we can do to kind of put something together for everybody to enjoy later this year. Jason had this interesting point. He said, look, everybody should do something. And there are different levels of commitment. You have people inside the greater Berwyn-Devon community. Basically, they can be churched or unchurched. And then what you have is you have parishioners within the parish of St. Monica. Overwhelmingly, 75% of them are not active. We do not see them on a regular basis on Sundays. But then you have the people who are in the congregation, the one who are attending. And then after that, you have people who are truly committed and who are your disciples and your apostles, your mature members who really put a stake in the ground and are trying to do whatever they can to make the mission and grow the mission of St. Monica. So the question is, what are those participation rates right now? And are there targets that we could set towards increasing that particular engagement? And with that, Jason and Megan have come up with a kind of a couple of, I won't call them strategies, but let me just call them principles that they would like to, that they want to base everything on. And it's this: build on the strengths that we have. When we talk with people, let's have these discussion-based conversational styles of interactions that are personal, kind, that are friendly. We want to reach people both virtually as in person. Quick story. I know a priest from a local parish who got a $200 check from a guy in Pittsburgh. And he called the guy, he said, "Why did you send me a check?" And the guy says, "Oh, I look at different parishes and different masses from parishes all over the country. And I happened to come across yours. And I just thought your church was pretty. And I kind of liked your homily style. So I thought I would send you $200 for it." This is something that's going to be very much a norm. Who are the people outside of the boundaries of Devon and Berwyn that we can and should be reaching out to? So that's people both inside and outside the parish. And when we do get in contact with them, we want to meet people where they are, but we don't want to leave them there. When you encounter Jesus Christ is always about more. And we want to deepen that relationship. And we want to offer that encounter where people develop that relationship with Jesus Christ in a much more substantive way. Now we come to the last one. We looked at liturgy, we looked at word, we looked at community, and we look at charity. Let's start again with the Disciple Maker Index. Back in 2017, we were way below other parishes, other dioceses, et cetera, et cetera. It was, in fact, one of the 2 lowest scores that we had on the entire Disciple Maker Index. And I mentioned this, and 2 women, Michelle Manning and Bridget Cowell, came up to me. They were the ones that brought Walking with Purpose into the parish. And they said, "We are going to be resigning as leaders of Walking with Purpose." And I guess they were looking for something to do. And there was something about that particular statistic that touched their hearts. And they said, "Father, we're really good at administration. Let us take this and let us run with this thing." And they've done an absolutely magnificent job, as you're going to see over the next couple of slides. And if you look here from the results, where we went substantially from one of the worst scores to a score where we are very much on par with parishes all over the Archdiocese and across the United States as well. What's their key responsibility area? As you would not be surprised, from 2 women who are engaged in the scriptures on a week, they gave me a quote from Matthew 22. "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." That's kind of like their key responsibility area mantra. What's the purpose? Megan and Bridget and Michelle feel that when people serve others, that becomes a catalyst for deepening that relationship with Jesus Christ. In terms of the Catholic tradition, it absolutely answers the 7 corporal works of mercy and 7 spiritual works of mercy. We want to do it in 2 ways. We want to give opportunities for individuals to serve, but when individuals come together, they start forming community, and they go out together, and they accompany other people. And Bridget and Michelle feel that this is a great way for us to, again, be this community of communities and build these small groups of people who are reaching out and serving others. Where are we thinking about serving? Well, certainly charity begins at home. So you have all abilities, you have helping other people in emergencies. We have the Great Valley Food Cupboard. We have the Montgomery Valley Food Bank, St. Agnes Day Room. We have people in each and every one of those. For the longest time, last couple of years, we had, as you see in that picture, we had the Helping Hands. Couldn't do that because of COVID. But certainly there are numerous opportunities to serve people in our area. But of course, Pope Francis talks about serving on the fringes. And so you have the pro-life community helping Legacy of Life in Bristol. You have Walking with Purpose, helping with the Community Center of Visitation in Cernelli House in Kensington. You have people helping out with the St. Joseph Welcome Center down in Philadelphia. And so we also have opportunities to get a little bit out of Chester County and help people who really might need some help in other areas of the Archdiocese. But it doesn't just stop there. I think St. Monica is very unique in the fact that we have 3 people young people who have felt that call from God and felt called to serve way out on the fringes. So you have Elizabeth Lawton right now. She's a member of Jesuit Volunteer Corps, and she's doing neonatal care out in some of the poor neighborhoods in San Francisco. You have Lisa Torres. She's a member of Focus, the Fellowship of Catholic University Students. She's taking 2 years off as a missionary at Stony Brook University on Long Island, basically trying to pass on the faith or engage other people in an evangelistic way up there on that campus. And then Megan Wilson, who just recently returned this week. I saw her in church on Sunday. She was at an orphanage called the Farm of the Child down in Trujillo in Honduras for the last couple of years. And we also have Mickey Fairworth, who is a seminarian at St. Charles Seminary. 3 remarkable stories. People always ask, how many vocations do you have? And I said, we got 4, but they're not the ones that you would think of. And we are extremely proud of these young people. And we are thrilled about what it is that they're doing. They're really kind of setting the bar high for the rest of us to follow. If we're going to make disciples, if we're going to answer God's call, that means resources. That means people who feel the call of discipleship, and it also means resources that we are responsible to steward. And here's where yours truly comes in. Together with Mike Wallace and Tom Phillips, my key responsibility area for the next 9 months is this whole area of stewardship and discipleship. And what is this going to look like? Let me tell you my purpose statement. I would like to use the charism of envisioning, pastoring, and leadership to preach, teach, sanctify, and govern so that people become what St. Irenaeus said, the glory of God, which are men and women fully alive. We're looking for people who are searching and seeking and lost, that they would walk through our doors, or maybe we would reach them out there where they are, where they would find a safe place to begin the conversation and a safe place to start in that relationship with Jesus Christ. There are many people in St. Monica Parish, as I've said before, who are not active. They are people who are not on fire, but there is certainly a flame there. What is it that we can do to kind of help on and make that flame come more alive? How do we take the people in the pews and really show them what it means to be a disciple and an intentional follower of Jesus Christ? And then how do we move people from there to be apostles, disciple makers who are reaching out to make other people be disciples? So that's the purpose. Concretely, what does that mean? I need some kind of a 360-degree evaluation, which I'm going to be doing over the next couple of months. I'm going to pull a couple of people from that pool of disciples, whether they're from That Man Is You, Walking with Purpose, Leadership, other parishioners. And I would like them to help me craft a priest roadmap. Look at and engage my personal life, look and engage my ministry, see what it is that see where the areas in my ministry that are bearing fruit. Let's build on that. And what are the areas where maybe I need to make some adjustments? And I've done this before at other assignments, and I've always found it very fruitful and very exciting. The second thing, what I've been talking a lot about tonight, parish vision and mission. This is the first part of this, putting the mission out there, and putting a mission out there that looks at the current circumstances. And as we go through the next 9 months, probably this vision may have to be tweaked a little bit. We will discern as circumstances change, and we will modify it accordingly. And one of the areas of the mission and vision that I personally feel very much called to is this whole idea of discipleship. On Tuesdays and on Mondays and Thursdays, I've been meeting along with Terry Doherty, and we're using the gifts from Catholic of Siena Institute, and we're doing this thing called Called and Gifted, where people can discern what their charisms are. If people can figure out what their charisms are, we orient those charisms to ministry and vision and mission in the parish. And what happens is that those ministries become much more effective. Governance. Now, governance is not government. Government has a little bit of baggage with it right now. So let me give you the Catholic Church, the Catechism definition of governance. It is stewarding and focusing parish resources in a way to allow and enhance people's encounter with Christ. And 2 special projects that we're looking at is kind of building off of that 5-year capital campaign that we did. We want to kind of look 5 years in the future and see what a parish facilities plan would look like. And then something else that happened over the last 2 years is we received some very significant largesse from generous people that gave us some financial resources and said, we do not want St. Monica to just survive. We want St. Monica to thrive. What do we do with those financial resources in a way that allows that thriving to occur? Pastor-specific ministry, I've kind of alluded to that already, and kind of defined what my vision and my role vision is. So these are some of the statistics or some of the details behind that. I want to align my own tasks to the parish mission and vision. I'd like to do priest stuff. One of the great gifts to me has been Mike Wallace and Tom Phillips, who are constantly coming to me, seeing me do some work and go, Father, that's not your job. And they just pull the paper off my desk. Or I'll be talking about something and then they'll say, we'll take care of that. And that allows me to do the things for which I was ordained, such as called and gifted and helping people find their spiritual gifts and charismas, such as spending more time in confession. Imagine that, besides just Saturday afternoon. But also I hear confessions on Monday evening at 6:30 and Tuesday morning with a cup of coffee, strong coffee, at 6 o'clock in the morning. So these are areas where my role vision is more and more oriented towards priesthood and not just administration. And finally, are there sacramental and pastoral needs of the parish in light of COVID, where we have to make some pivots or adjustments? That's something else that I'm going to be talking with my leadership team, my staff, and parishioners in general to see what kind of adjustments we need to make. You cannot do this without a great group of people backing me up. Tom and Mike are two who have our newest members. And then you have Kathy Levine, who has been here for so many years, and so many of us know and love her, and she knows and loves so many of you. And it's great to have good people around, but you have to also take the people, and they just cannot be individuals. You have to form them as a team, and that's where we've been working with Catholic Leadership Institute to try and do that. We're guiding the individual staff members, seeing what their role statements are, what are their key responsibility areas, what are the tasks they want to accomplish. We want to set clear expectations, because if we do that, we increase the effectiveness of their ministry. We retain morale. If you've ever been in this rectory anytime lately, one of the things you hear a lot of is laughter. And we want to steward the resources, and they are some of our most valuable resources. And now, oh, people of St. Monica, guess what? There is a role vision for you. There are things that are specific to the parishioners, the people in the pews, that need to be accomplished if we are truly going to be a vibrant parish. And so I was listening to a webinar from this parish down in Timonium, Maryland called Rebuilt. They are a parish that really revitalized themselves over the last 25 years. And the pastor talked about this idea of 7 ideas to help your pastor in 2021. So I came up with 7 of them. Here's the first one. Pray for me. If I'm not led by the Holy Spirit, we will not see fruit. So pray for strength and pray for wisdom. Second thing, pray for you. People sometimes get excited and say, Father, I want to help. And they come up to me and they say, I'd like to do this. And it is my responsibility to say, okay, let's talk about your prayer life. How did you pray to discern this? Who did you talk to about this? Is this really a charism of yours? And so that's something that's going to be necessary as you continue with your prayer life and trying to discern what the Holy Spirit is saying to you. Move to the next threshold. Example, if you only go to confession once a year, go twice. If you pray maybe only on Sunday, then see if you can pray maybe on Sunday and Monday. If you give $1, give $1.05. Whatever it is, wherever you are on the spiritual threshold, pastoral threshold, take it and just move it up a little bit. If we can get everybody in the parish, or a significant amount of people in the parish, to do this, this parish is going to look significantly different in 9 months than it does now, in a very positive way. One area that people often will say is they'll come and say, where can I help? And very often they're talking about an individual ministry. The area where we need people the most, where it has the most leverage, is leading a team. Example, we really don't have anybody who is in charge of leading, educating, scheduling, and catechizing our altar servers. We do have people who have been helping with the ministry of lectors, same thing with Eucharistic ministers, but they really haven't been revisited. And people who lead a group, again, it's this community idea. Those are the people that are most critical to the success. And those are the people that you're going to see if you have those kind of people in place, you're going to see the most fruit. Just do it for a year. And if you don't, after a year, you said, I made a year commitment and I'm going to bow out, that's perfectly fine. But that's one area of these 7. This is the area that I think might be the most important. If you're not sure what to do, talk to Megan, talk to Tom, talk to somebody, talk to Kathy. They are in the weeds on this stuff. They know where the where the service holes are. They know where the areas are where we need the most assistance. So they would be more than happy to talk to you. And do not be surprised if that conversation happens off campus. We do a lot of catechesis down at the Berwyn Tavern and at Handel's and at 30 Main and at La Cabra. So talk to us, take us out. We'd be more than happy to talk to you about what's happening at St. Monica and where you might be able to help. Do one ministry, as I said, for a year. Just try it. And then after a year, you can honorably bow out. Perfectly fine. But that is what discipleship is. It's the first step of discipleship. And then finally, bring something with you. Many people will not come to you to church. They won't come in the building. They're not ready, but you can go to them and you can take them out for a cup of coffee and you can talk to them about their life and you can talk to them maybe about their faith or their ideas of God. And you can share about St. Monica and what St. Monica means to you. That's apostleship. That's somebody who is being sent to go out and engage the people of God who might not have that deep relationship with Jesus Christ just yet. You could be the person that helps make that happen. So there it is. Word, liturgy, community, charity. These are the 4 areas that we're looking at in terms of trying to make this parish a parish that is truly vibrant, where we're not just surviving, but we are thriving. And I'm going to end with that. I am also going to go and turn a light on so you can maybe see me a little bit better. And then I'll turn, we'll have Tom and Jason here, and we'll see if we can have a little bit of an interaction here for the next 20 minutes or so. I'll be right back.